I put the same notes of After Sun as this Lord of the Rings movie in the same document. So it's very...
I've got quite a collection going on now, you know.
You saved everything?
Yeah, I've not deleted anything, but they've all got your name in them.
Oh, yeah.
Still.
Den of the Rings.
It was Dan of the Ring. It was going to be Lord of the Dans, but because it's Lord of the Dance as well, you know.
After Dan.
It was after Dan. Halloween.
Hello, Dan.
Hello, Dan. So, quite an easy one. 28 days later.
28 Dans later.
Yeah. Command Dan. Expansion 2. A Monster Dans. Danful Findings. Rise of the Dan Soldier. Dan Springs. Adaptation.
Oh my god, that's the worst.
Ready or Dan. The Nightmare Before Danmas. Kiss Kiss Dan Dan.
Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to I Hate Your Movie, where we... What?
So you forgot.
Yeah, I'm not good at this, even after 50 episodes. This is I Hate Your Movie, where we... What do?
We inflict movies upon each other for entertainment purposes, or your entertainment.
For your entertainment.
Depending on which of us is saying it.
Yeah. So, this week, we watched Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
The 1970-something animated terribleness. But, because I know your feelings on this, it's the same. It's the same as the Peter Jackson movies. It's the same. It's the same story, so it's the same. It's the same. It's talking lions. It's the same. It's singing lions.
Talking lions?
Oh, sorry. Thought we were talking about Lion King.
What?
Well, I don't know if this is in the podcast recorded.
Okay.
But you said to me a few times one of the most upsetting things ever. The documentary style animated Lion King movie.
Yep.
It's the same.
A lot of that film is shot for shot the same.
It's the same. It's the same.
A lot of that film is the same.
Yeah, so this is the same.
No, because not a lot of this is shot for shot. I would like you to put the Battle of Helm's Deep side by side and you to tell me how much of that is the same.
That's what part of me why I wanted you to watch this film.
Yeah?
The way you said it. It's the same story, so it's the same.
Okay, but it's the same story told in the same order, in the same way, and there are lots of scenes in the newer Lion King that are shot for shot the same.
Sure, maybe it's shot for shot, but, you know, in one of them, their faces don't move while they're singing, and you can't see their emotions, and there's no color, because it's documentary style. And the voice acting is shit. And the singing's shit. And it just doesn't work, because it's supposed to be a stylized movie, and otherwise it's just Hamlet with lions, and it's bullshit. Anyway. So,
I don't think I love the original Lion King as much as most people do. That for a lot of people, that's like the best animation that's ever been, and for me, it's alright.
I don't think it's the best animation that's ever been, but it's definitely caught me at the right time, 1994. Anyway, we're talking about Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings,
directed by Ralph Bakshi, who I want to talk about a little bit.
Yeah,
is one of my personal heroes. It's 1970 something.
Okay,
and it is an adaptation of 1.75 of the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers.
Yep.
And it stars a bunch of people you'd never heard about, plus John Hurt.
Okay.
Who's in lots of things. You might know him as the War Doctor.
He's the War Doctor, yeah.
He's in Alien. He's the first guy who gets the chest burster.
Okay.
He's in 1984. He's in V for Vendetta. He's the Elephant Man in The Elephant Man. He stands out a little bit.
Yeah. They definitely got a win when got him in the cast.
Yeah, he also stands out because everyone else is kind of crappy. And
really?
his voice acting stands out a little bit. So Rick, what did you think of?
Well, my one sentence review.
Yeah, what do you think of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings?
My one sentence review is you don't realise how important the battle scenes are in Lord of the Rings until they're not there anymore.
Yeah. Talking about the battle scenes, I've read the trivia. Have you read the trivia for this?
I have not read the trivia. You told me promises of endless trivia and
Yeah.
fun facts. So I have not looked any of them up in case it overlaps.
Ralph Bakshi, the director
Yep.
and the project leader, said that obviously when you see this movie, it'll be obvious this animation was shot.
Yep.
Like it was filmed and then it was rotoscoped, meaning they drew over the people.
Yep.
He said that the Battle of Helm's Deep took 3,000 people to make. Now, I think he's lying.
Yeah.
Because you can see the same 5 people over and over again in the same makeup.
What an absolute nonsense. You divided by 100.
Or more.
There's no way that took more than 30 people.
Yeah. Ralph Bakshi is an interesting guy. I don't know how to approach this film. I love it.
Yeah.
It's very flawed. But it's very flawed in a way where it's also super ambitious, you know? It's like, let's make Lord of the Rings with the budget of bread and butter. A slice of bread and butter. I love the ambition of it, you know?
Yeah.
Here's how I'm gonna approach it. When I was a kid, I used to go to the video store all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you don't know what a video store is,
Oh, yeah.
because you're born in 2020 or something.
To let us take you back in time to a world before the internet.
Yeah, imagine Amazon Prime as a store.
Imagine getting in your parents' car, driving to your local town, and there being a shop full of films that you don't own and can't own.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just lend them to you for a price.
Imagine you going to that place and then you get like this cassette tape and then you go home excitedly and someone snuck in a porno movie into that. That happened to me multiple times. But they go down like loads and loads and loads of times.
As a teenager, like, your result.
Just remember like, oh, I'll rent Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And then go home and be horrified. It was a very popular video store that I went to. And things were constantly out. So I ended up accidentally renting like failed first versions of things. And this was one of them.
Okay.
The first Lord of the Rings, first Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is like a BBC drama.
Yeah.
Super early, like 60s, like ridiculous. I watched a lot of stuff like that. And I don't know, this movie, it's very janky.
Mm-hmm.
It's very low budget. But I don't know, it just gives me the good vibes. And I love it, you know?
Yeah.
I just can't help but love it. Kind of like, oh, it's cute. They had people doing puppet shows because they run out of animation budget.
By the way, if you're enjoying this episode, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And we also have a Patreon.
Where for £1 or $1 a month, you can listen to bonus episodes that we do and also recommend us movies and join a great community of people. Patreon.com/IHateYourMovie. It's also in the description box. Check it out. Thank you very much. Bit of background on Ralph Bakshi. He was, in the 70s, 80s, I think that's it, Disney's biggest competitor.
Really?
He's a very interesting guy. I would call him punk. Not necessarily that he has like a mohawk, tattered shirt or something. He's just a guy. But he was very outrageous and he just had no fear. He made the first X-rated animated feature film of all time.
So it's his fault.
Yeah. It's Felix the Cat. And he made like a bunch of like really adult animation stuff. Lots of innovative techniques as well, like the rotoscoping. He went to bars and filmed people in their natural environment.
Creepy.
And he rotoscoped over them.
Okay.
To like have this really raw feeling. He made a film that has a racial slur in the title. It's not the N-word.
Okay. Why is that a good thing?
Well, it is now considered like a cult classic in the black community, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
So yeah, he's pushed boundaries.
Yeah.
Also, funny thing about him, he started his career in the 60s Spider-Man show.
Really?
Yeah, all those memes. The Spider-Man is at the desk, the big desk, and there's a big, smaller picture of Spider-Man behind him, or the pointing. That's all him. So, Lord of the Rings.
So we won't bore you with the plot of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
There are people that have been in comas for the last 50 years that have seen Lord of the Rings. They know the plot of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I have a few questions.
Yeah.
My first question to you is, so we were having a conversation on the lead up to this, and you pretty sincerely said there are parts of this Lord of the Rings that are better than Peter Jackson's.
Yes.
And my question to you is, what are they?
Okay. I alluded to one of them already.
Okay.
John Hurt, Aragorn.
Mhm.
Way better. Oh my
Okay.
god.
What, then Viggo Mortensen?
Yeah. He's a good actor, Viggo Mortensen. But I never really bought him as a leader, as like a guy who takes charge, you know?
Mhm.
He was kind of always like soft-spoken. He wasn't really assertive even. He was just very nice. You know, when I think of him, there's the scene with Arwen, and they're at the broken sword, and then he's like, and there's like all soft, and there's like, he has like a little tear in his eye. I was like, when I think about this Aragorn, I think about a fucking badass. I have a quote, which is my favorite quote from the movie,
Yeah.
which is, I'm sure it's straight from the book, but it says a lot that this adaptation included it, and Peter Jackson's didn't. It's after Gandalf dies.
We've no hope without Gandalf. You know that, Aragorn.
Then we must do without hope. There is always vengeance.
And I was like, I can't imagine Viggo Mortensen's Aragorn say that, you know?
Yeah.
This guy is a fucking badass. I loved him.
I always thought the softness of Aragorn suited the character well. He was someone that didn't want power, didn't want to be a king, and just wanted to be out there helping people and doing good things.
It suited him to a point, I think. But when he like had to step up and actually be a leader, I felt like there's a bit lacking for me.
Those who want to be king shouldn't be king.
Yeah, to a point, but this is not Game of Thrones. This is not politics, you know. Like, this is not meant to be realistic. This is kind of good versus evil, kind of black and white stuff. So I think it would work better in this if he was like a strong man. The other thing I like better in this movie is Frodo fights back multiple times. In the Peter Jackson one, when I think about Frodo, I think about him falling over, or there's compilations on YouTube where he's
Him being carried up a hill.
yeah, him being carried up a hill, or just like the lightest breeze touches him and he falls over and knocks his head. This one, still very ineffective because it's a hobbit, but when he gets chased by the riders, he goes, "You will not take me for the Shire," and he falls over, but he tries, and then he stabs the troll in the leg in the mines. In the Peter Jackson one, he just falls over. So these are the two major things that I like more. By the way,
Yeah.
so talking about like shot-for-shot remakes,
Yeah.
have you noticed scenes that were too familiar?
Yeah, I did. In one of my notes, and it's an early note as well. Obviously, it's from the book, so some of the dialogue at the very start of the film
Yeah.
is incredibly similar, if not identical. What?
That's not in the book.
Is it not?
Yep. That's one of the things Peter Jackson just took from this movie. Blatantly. He says it. So Peter Jackson saw this movie before he read the books.
Mm-hmm.
It had a big influence on him. There's no prologue in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you read the books, by the way? I haven't read them.
I've read kind of the half into Fellowship of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I found it really frustrating to read. Here's a regular paragraph. And our heroes went on the journey. And they went on, and then they went on, and then they came by a mountain. Now, 200 years ago, this mountain, I was like, fuck this shit. I can't do this. It's so like, stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. Explain like what happened 1,000 years ago to a fucking mountain, you know?
Yeah.
I don't quite remember how it starts, but I read it in the trivia that, yeah, there's no prologue in the Lord of the Rings. There's one in this and one in the movies. Sometimes there was no animation budget or something, or they wanted to do something different. In the prologue to this, they just did a little shadow puppet show. Wasn't it like cute though?
No.
Ah. What frustrates me about this movie is that the animation is sometimes really good, but most of the time it's really bad.
Yeah.
But there's like little amazing ones, you know?
What I was really impressed with in this film is how everyone's always moving.
Yeah.
Like in animation, it's cheaper just let people stand there and then move the other one.
Yeah.
But the backgrounds are static, obviously. But Gandalf's always swaying, or
Twirling around sometimes.
Or Merry and Pippin are in the back walking back and forwards. Like everyone's always moving.
Yeah.
And it's just, you don't see that very often.
Yeah, that's part of rotoscoping. Yeah, I'm pretty sure actors were told, look animated, don't just stand there. Especially Gandalf, who's like twirling and dancing around.
But yeah, back to the shot-for-shot thing is, the thing I noticed the most is when Bilbo says goodbye to everyone. So he says the same quote in both films.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's from the books.
Yeah. And then he's twiddling the ring in his fingers behind his back. And that is pretty much shot for shot. You could put that side by side. Mostly identical.
More on top of my head, there's one where the hobbits hide from the riders and they hide under this big tree branch. That again, in the book, they hide separately in separate places.
Really?
Yeah. There's also when Gandalf comes back from the dead and reveals himself. It's very much like the same.
So one thing I did like about this is kind of the explanation of the journey of the ring, and then like how Bilbo got it and then took it home, and then he gives it to Frodo, and then he leaves, and then it says like 17 years later, which makes so much more sense because Frodo's had that ring for 17 years. And it's been like a little bit chipping away at his like soul. If they did that in the regular films, that would explain why he's such a whiny little bitch.
Yeah. So in this scene, in this introductory scene, obviously Gandalf comes back and he explains what the ring is. Now in the movies, he's like, oh, I can't touch it. Even if I touch it, I'm gonna be swayed by it. And in this one, he just picks it up. Well, the ring says this.
I was disappointed they didn't have the flame. You could have animated the flame.
Mordor, what the ring says. That's when he twirls around. What did you think of creepy Gandalf to begin with?
Creepy Gandalf?
Yeah.
Why was he creepy?
It's hard to explain, but his facial expressions and how weird he acted and how close he got. By the way, this is probably the least amount of work I will have to do on a thumbnail or video. Because every other 2-ish minutes, there's like a weird facial expression. And there's a weird character design. Yeah, that's kind of like the con for the rotoscope. I wish they would have used like some regular animation and not rely on rotoscoping so much.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the actors understood what this was. I don't think that they understood that their facial expressions will be translated 1-to-1 on film. Because there's some weird shit going on, man. just look up some clips, like honestly. It's just the weird facial expressions, weird movements. There's one that I'll never forget, that's probably going to be in the thumbnail, is when Gandalf tells Frodo, oh, he has to take a nickname, alias, to go on his journey. And Frodo just gives like the most disgusted look a man has ever given. He just heard like the most disgusting thing ever. It's not the correct facial expression.
Genuinely, I vaguely remember that. And I just thought it was kind of like, because in the Shire, everyone's Bilbo Baggins of the Shire. Da, da, da. So I thought like maybe a name is a really important part of their identity. And therefore, that was what that was about.
Maybe. It was so exaggerated though. He was the emotion of disgust in the Inside Out universe. But there's, again, we're going to move back and forth because everyone knows the story.
Yeah.
But there's genuinely great animation in this. There's two that stick out to me.
Yeah?
In Avengers when the camera swirls around them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then you can see the whole team and it goes in a circle. There's a moment like this in this. It's when they're on Weathertop. Aragorn is like, take these torches. And the camera goes around them. That's hard even rotoscoped. And then there's one where it's the only time, I think, that there was just regular hand-drawn animation is when Treebeard shows up. Remember that?
No.
Okay. He's like regular animated. It's like a Disney cartoon.
Yeah.
And it was really nice. It was nice looking. And I was like, wow, this movie has talent. It's just some of it is not utilized. Sam was a bit extra special, wasn't he?
Me go and see the elves? Oh my! Oh, hooray!
Yeah, people kind of make fun of Sean Astin. Oh, yes, Mr. Frodo. Yeah, whatever, Mr. Frodo. I don't mind Mr. Frodo. I think being like this weak kind of nothing character, even though he's actually...
He's the hero of the story.
He's the hero of the story. But yeah, compared to the animated version, he's basically Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando.
Yep.
In the animation, Sam is a puddle.
He's more like the Jar Jar Binks.
Yes.
That's a
there
good
you go.
Yeah, he's the Jar Jar Binks of the Lord of the Rings.
And they're cousins, Merry and Pippin. Oh, look, there they are.
Yeah.
Come over here.
Yeah, because it's shorter, obviously.
My favourite bit of that is when they're going through the forest and then they're like, oh, look, it's Legolas on a horse. You all right, mate? Let's go.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. What did you think of Aruman or Saruman?
So,
Or Aruman or Saruman?
my note for this was I've written down Saruman of many colours.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's in the books.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Because there's many colored wizards. And there's 2 blue wizards and a brown wizard and a grey Gandalf.
Mhm.
And then the white. And I think the idea is that he has all the power. All the colors you can think of.
Yeah,
Blue, brown and grey. There's no more colors.
Does it actually say in the film Saruman of many colours?
Yeah, he does.
I really wanted it to come out in this, like, rainbow outfit. Just come out as, you know, kind of walk onto it and be, hey.
Hey. With like a boa around his neck. It's like a pink boa. There's a few of this as well. When there's like magic happening, they do this optical effect. What you should imagine is if you ever seen the very old Doctor Who openings.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. One of those, just they fuck around with the camera. It's like, that looks weird, isn't it? I guess that's magic.
I didn't feel like Saruman of Soho was...
Saruman of Soho.
It's a man of many colours.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't feel that he was particularly menacing or much of a good villain.
No,
No.
he kind of disappears.
Yeah.
Also, his name is Saruman.
Saruman.
No, his name is Saruman. You didn't pick up on this.
No.
A genuine mistake in the film.
In this film.
In this film.
Yeah.
They decided to drop the S because it sounds like Sauron.
Yeah, to be fair, that has always bugged me.
Yeah, I understand that. Now it's not a problem to change it. The problem is when you change it, and then some people would still say Saruman in your movie.
Really?
Yeah. So it goes Aruman, Saruman, Aruman, Saruman, Aruman, Saruman. And like from scene to scene sometimes. Oh, talking about Legolas.
Oh, look, there's Legolas.
Oh, look, there's Legolas.
He's on a horse.
He's on weed. he was a bit weird looking.
Yeah, he was. His eyes were too big. I think it was something they tried to do to make the elves look different to the humans. Because I think all of the elves had like big eyes.
Big eyes. It was like a shaggy elf.
Shaggy elf.
Yeah, Shaggy from Scooby-Doo is an elf.
He can be Shaggy. Sam can be Scooby.
Yeah.
Oh?
Yeah.
Who's good? Araman of many colours can be Velma. I'm done.
Is the other famous celebrity voice?
Who, Legolas?
Yeah. He says like 3 things. He's Anthony Daniels, C-3PO himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think maybe before Star Wars even. That's why he has 3 lines. Because no one cares. Another problem with rotoscoping, right? This is why they should have used a bit more mixed media. But they do, kind of.
I don't think they do it enough.
Yeah. The other problem with rotoscoping is that, well, first of all, if there's a mistake in your film, it's gonna stay in there. Unless you take it out. The other problem is, in fight scenes, the actors can't swing too hard. You know, and then you can see that in the animation.
Okay, so my one sentence view is obviously that you need the battle scenes in Lord of the Rings. Honestly, in this, I have no idea what they were thinking. Because everything else is low budget, but it's done well. And then these battle scenes happen. And it's just shit. It's unbelievably shit. Like, just from the very outset, when the King of the North cuts off Saruman's hand.
What?
I can't remember the name of the guy, but he killed it. It was Sauron. That was a joke. When he cuts off Sauron's fingers and the ring comes up, and it's literally just a guy in a stick, and he like taps a guy's hand, and it's genuinely like he's knighting him. It's that kind of
and that's not even the rotoscoping. That's the puppet show still.
And then it goes on all these battle scenes, and it's just you just hear like. And there's these silhouettes on the screen, and it's just horses like going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, and it goes on for so long. Each one of them goes on for so horrendously long, and it's all the same.
Yeah, the only thing that gives away the battle scenes that it's supposed to be an actual battle is kind of like the sound effects.
Yeah.
They were okay. But then actually what you see on the screen is like 3 people.
Yeah.
While the sound effect is like 3,000 people, you know?
You mean it didn't take 3,000 people to make these scenes?
I don't think so.
Oh, God, it's so boring.
Yeah.
And it's not just that bit's boring and I was bored for that bit, because I was. It's the fact that the other scenes with the dialogue and the interaction between the characters isn't enough to maintain it. So you just, from pretty much the start, you're on this kind of like downward spiral of just like loss of interest, for me anyway.
Another animation trick they do is when they run out of budget and just film people.
Yeah.
Put a weird filter on it.
Yep.
It looks so fucking weird. Especially when they like mix the two. You know, like where my brain was like, oh my god, what's happening?
There's so many times in this film I was looking at it and like, what am I supposed to be looking at here? I
Yeah.
have no idea.
What I want to see in life the most, one of the things I want to see in life. Some people want to see the Grand Canyon. Some people want to see, you know, the Eiffel Tower. I want to see the original footage of this film. Because I want to see what it was actually like. I really do. I don't see anyone calling for it, but I would love to see it.
You want to see the Bakshi cut?
Yeah.
Hashtag release the Bakshi cut. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, the big thing that people do in Lord of the Rings is the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done the Lord of the Rings marathon?
Yes, I've done the extended marathon as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 12 hours.
In a single day?
In a single day, yeah.
Wow.
I've done, and what I recommend to people who are creative and listen to this podcast. I'm not sure if it's on the Blu-rays. It was back in the DVD days. On the special edition of Lord of the Rings, there's hours of behind-the-scenes footage.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely one of the most motivating, amazing things you can see. Like a most intimate look behind the scenes of a movie you can see. It was like one of the first movies that did like, we're gonna do like a webisode. And we're gonna film some stuff for the web, for surf the web, bro. Like early 2000s. All of that is on there. The impact of those behind the scenes footage that had on me and on my creations and what I do is one of the big things that make me do what I do. You know, they're very, very good. So I recommend that too. But yeah, I've done the marathon. What about you?
I've never done it. I don't have the attention span. I don't think. I've never even attempted it.
Yeah. There's some good stuff in the extended stuff that should have been in the...
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes in the whole trilogy is when Gandalf the White goes back and fucking kills Saruman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a great scene. And it's not in the theatrical. Well, he doesn't kill himself. It's like Wormtongue is on the tower and he stabs Saruman in the back and he falls down and he falls on this wheel that goes around. There's a great story with Christopher Lee, famous Nazi killer.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how many Nazis he killed, especially based on this story. So there's a famous clip of him going like, Peter Jackson told me that when I get stabbed in the back I should scream. And I told him that's not what happens when you stab people in the back. It's like, oh my god, you've done some stuff. You've done some stuff. Again, the art is so patchy in this. Like, sometimes it's great, most of the time it's terrible. But there's like genuinely wonderful paintings sometimes they use as a backdrop. Like the painting of Isengard. It looks like a painting I would put up. It just looks so beautiful. Today on Instagram, I was like, I spent 400 days on this painting. Every little minute detail. Incredible looking.
I couldn't figure out, because I don't know if you noticed, but Boromir's sword has like weird notches and bits missing out of it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I didn't.
And I wondered if that was just a poor animation.
Probably.
Or like, was it supposed to signify that, you know, his kingdom's falling and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I would love to see the sequel to this. Again, just nothing would make me happier. Here's one of the funny things. Again, we're not going in order.
Yeah.
But it's when the fellowship splits. There's a great scene, which I loved. It's when Sam catches up to Frodo, who's fleeing, and they're in this boat. Have you noticed this? And they talk about like, oh, you shouldn't come with me, Sam. Oh, I will come with you because you're my master. And they paddling back and forth. So as Frodo paddles forward, Sam pedals back, and they're just going like back, forward, and just basically say the same. It's just kind of fun as they talking about like what to do. They do this little dance.
That's what I mean. Everyone's always moving. It's so easy to just sit that still and not do anything with it. But there's loads of little details in there
Yeah.
that people do in the background.
Yeah, I like this one particularly because it was almost like a little visual storytelling bit. I never asked you, like, what do you think about Lord of the Rings? Not this one, but the
Peter Jackson's.
real one.
It's brilliant. I've watched all the extended versions.
Mm.
I don't remember the Gandalf killing Saruman.
I remember.
But yeah, it's just brilliant. It's absolute peak fantasy.
Now, what do you think about the Hobbit films?
It's shit.
Yeah.
Of all the terrible things about this film, it's hard to kind of measure it. The battles are bad,
Yeah.
but I think the worst thing about this film is Gollum's voice actor.
It wasn't that bad.
It was that bad.
It was on the same line as the other people, except
No,
John Hurt.
It was so much worse.
Yeah?
Yeah, it wasn't menacing, it wasn't threatening, you didn't get a sense of insanity. To me, he sounded kind of northern. He was like, oh, I am Gollum.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Nice hobbits.
Well, in the first part of the story, you're not meant to be scared of him, I think. You're meant to feel pity for him.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. 'Cause he's like, he's playing up the old pitiful creature, so he gets along with him.
The biggest like pop culture things out of the Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson version is Gollum.
Yeah.
And I think in comparison, maybe if I'd seen this on its own, I wouldn't feel so strongly about it, but definitely in comparison.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Just,
in comparison,
it's
sure.
just ridiculous.
I'm just saying, in the level of most of the voice actors, not including John Hurt, it's pretty much the same to me.
Yeah.
The worst thing in this movie for me is definitely the Balrog.
Oh my god. the Balrog. Jesus Christ. You mean the BDSM demon?
You mean the little child that was dressed up for Halloween? Yeah, it was like a weird lion head, a whip, and like paper mache wings. Obvious paper mache wings.
I mean, you got to do something, I suppose. But I think if you're going to animate Treebeard from scratch,
Yeah,
then you should animate this demon thing from
that's what I
scratch
was
as well.
saying, is they should have done more traditional animation.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for this bit.
Yeah.
'Cause it's you kind of expect him to, like, the camera to pan around and there's, like, people chained to the wall in straps and they got ball gags in. And...
I got more of a children's Halloween vibe.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, mine's worked very differently.
What about the fact that everyone's a bit of a dick in this to each other and everyone?
What do you mean?
And we were saying it even when I was watching it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
everyone's a bit rude and mean.
I think it's mainly, like, people that were just mean to Sam all the time.
That too. No, I think it was Aragorn as well. We were making fun of it as we were watching it.
Yeah.
It was like we were adding like "shut the fuck up" to his words and things like that.
Yeah, he would just, like, turn around to Sam and go, Sam, we are not doing that, you prick.
Yeah. Another problem with the rotoscoping.
I mean, you got your episode title right there. Another problem with the rotoscoping.
Top 10 problems with rotoscoping.
You can make this episode a drinking game.
Yeah. How many times I say rotoscoping?
Problem with rotoscoping.
I think one of the battles, probably the end battle, they last some hounds, which were clearly very happy dogs that were just wagging their tails and being happy. And then, like, animated to be demon dogs. But because they were, like, happy tail-wagging dogs, it doesn't quite work, you know? Oh, no, it's this golden retriever. It's gonna eat me.
You haven't even mentioned when the guy falls over.
Oh, my God. Probably rotoscoping number 94. Maybe if you have a footage and then people are running and someone's actually... for real falls over. Maybe don't include that. Maybe don't animate that part.
You just cut it out.
Just don't slow-mo it. It's not cool. That's like one of the only slow-mo footage. It's like clearly real. It's clearly real because it's a very awkward thing, but he has his sword on his hip and then his foot gets caught in his sword and he falls over and it cuts just before he completely falls over to the ground. Well, you couldn't film that again?
No.
Or you couldn't cut it off like just a few seconds?
Yeah. Surely you can do your own animation for like half a second.
And then you had to animate that. That's the other thing. Is that why are you animating that? Why are you drawing over that? It had to go through so many people. Quality control. And no one said anything. Remember, I called it when it's happened as well. When we were watching it. It was like, this is where you're gonna fall. Because I remember when I was a kid, it was like, oh my god, he fell over. Too many characters look like Santa Claus. Saruman,
Yep.
the king, and Gandalf at some point. Like, everyone's a guy with a white beard. Also, another problem with rotoscoping. There's not a problem with rotoscoping, there's a problem with laziness. Some of the character designs are so lazy. The one that stick out to me is Elrond. Which
Yeah. I had a note for Elrond. My note for Elrond was Elrond looks like Nicolas Cage.
he looks like Nicolas Cage, but like he just wears a t-shirt and like a medal. I was like, yeah, I guess that's the design. You're doing animation, you can draw anything on him.
But not cheaply.
Yeah, but just a little bit more. So it doesn't just look like a guy from the street, you know?
Didn't even pay him. Just
Yeah.
Hey, you there? Can you stand here for a minute?
Can you put this medal on? That's your costume. Why is this dude sitting at the end of the table and telling people what to do?
So, let's talk about the end of this film. And actually, I'd also like to talk about the end of the actual Lord of the Rings
Whoa.
Peter Jackson film.
Okay.
So, this film ends because it ran out of budget.
Yeah. The budget ran out before it ends. But yeah.
The Battle of Helm's Deep happens, and they win the Battle of Helm's Deep, and it's like, oh, and they won. All the evil was pushed from the land. And it doesn't mention Frodo
Nope.
or the ring
Nope.
or anything. Just, oh, all the evil was pushed from the land. Happy ending. Goodbye.
I think that was a last 5-minute decision of, oh shit, we're actually not getting a sequel. Let's wrap this up the quickest way possible. And it's not even that they win, that they visually win. It's just Gandalf comes in. It's like, and the forces of evil have been...
Yeah, it's like the scene in Helm's Deep where Gandalf comes down from the hill.
Yeah.
They kind of use that as, oh, we've won now.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Aren't you happy?
What a glorious conclusion that was.
Yeah. Forget about Frodo and Sam.
Yeah, don't worry about them. Okay, so here's my problem with the Peter Jackson version.
Yeah.
I have never liked the end of Lord of the Rings from the battle perspective. When Aragorn has that small like group of horses and they go up to the gates of Mordor and they're like, come out, you motherfuckers. The gates open, the orcs come out and they surround the good guys. And then while that's happening, Frodo throws the ring in the fire.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's not what happens. What?
Yeah, while they're outside the gates of Mordor, Frodo throws the ring in the volcano.
No, he doesn't throw the ring in the water. You don't remember the end of Lord of the Rings?
Oh, well, he has a fight with What's-His-Face, and What's-His-Face
Gollum-
falls into the
Yeah.
volcano. Same difference.
No.
Come on.
No. Excuse me. That's completely different. Gollum takes the ring, bites Frodo's finger off. Frodo didn't do fucking shit, mate. Gollum bites Frodo's finger off and falls in because he's so happy.
Okay, fine. Whatever. That's...
You can't sneak things like that past by me.
So what wasn't the point? Right. The volcano goes off, an earthquake happens, and all of Mordor kind of falls into the ground. And then it gets to outside the gates of Mordor, and the ground falls away in a perfect circle around the good guys, and then extends out. First, I don't like that for a few reasons. One, because it's nonsense, right? Because why would that land not fall? I mean, you could kind of be like, yeah, a wizard did it. Gandalf was doing a wizardy thing, but it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
They should, like, run away, and then there'll be a big cliff face, and they're standing on the edge of the cliff face, and all the orcs have fallen down the hole. I can live with it, because they're on horses, and the orcs are on foot, so they can outrun them. It's an easy fix.
Yeah.
The second thing I don't like about that is they're now all on horses on this island. How are they getting off?
Eagles.
Eagles are
The
gonna
eagles
be-
are there.
Yeah. Where do you stand, by the way, on the why didn't they take eagles?
That's obviously people who don't understand Lord of the Rings.
Yeah?
Yeah.
In what way?
There's fucking dragons on the other side, motherfucker.
I love all like the made up quotes of like of Tolkien. Have you seen them?
No.
It was like when Tolkien was asked why didn't Frodo take an eagle to Mordor? And it's like, shut up. J.R. Tolkien.
No, they have dragons. It's supposed to be like a sneak mission.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you put attention on yourself, that's like a higher risk. What's your take on the Eagles? The band?
I think they could have at least gone some of the way, you know?
Still too much attention.
Yeah.
At the beginning, they were looking for Frodo, the riders.
Yeah. But, like, I think they encounter so many orcs along the way that give their position away a lot of the time. Doesn't really matter. Like, there's no need to go through a mountain with a demon in it when you can just fly over it.
Yeah.
And draw the same amount of attention to yourself.
What about, do you feel like... I always hated this criticism of Lord of the Rings. The ending's too long. The ending's too long.
The ending's too long.
Yeah.
Do people say that?
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes, even in the theatrical. Because it's like, Frodo wakes up, they're all happy, there's a coronation of Aragorn, and then they go back to the Shire, Sam gets married, Frodo writes a book, he goes to sail to paradise or whatever.
Okay.
And it is like genuinely like 20 minutes. It is a conclusion of 3 movies, not 1. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, what do you want? Some kind of like American while the credits are running.
Freeze frame.
Samwise got married. He has 3 kids now. She doesn't like him. Ha ha ha.
Gollum is crispy.
Gollum became a sunburn model.
Aragorn hates his wife. She nags too much.
just him with his hands up.
Yeah.
Like, wah, wah. What you gonna do? Meanwhile, that song playing. I had visions, I was in and I was looking into the mirror.
Gimli overcome his racism and join the elves.
What's Bow Guy up to? Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
What's his character's name? Legolas. What's Legolas
How
doing?
did you remember the actor's name first? He's a children's entertainer. He's like a sad one as well. He goes to birthday parties.
Like a party clown.
Yeah. Even the kids don't care.
Yeah.
Merry and Pippin finally caved in and married.
They marry each other.
Marry each other, yeah. What would you rate this movie?
What would I rate this movie? To be honest, because of the battle scenes, I feel like during this episode we've made this sound much more entertaining than it was. This has got to be like a 3, maybe a 4
Yeah.
at the best.
I had a feeling it's going to be one of your new most hated
It hasn't
movies.
quite made the list.
Mm.
It hasn't quite made the list, but it's close.
Yeah. I don't know if I can rate this. Because it's like 80% nostalgia. 20% is a respect for the art and the ambition. Like, how do you rate that?
It's like a 3 out of 10 for production. It's just 9 out of 10 for effort.
Yeah, I can break that down like that, yeah. Yeah, I would say 2 out of 10 for production.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah, 8, 9 out of 10 for effort. A for effort.
A for effort.
It's just so messy. I like weird little janky things like that, where people are too ambitious for their budget. I respect the art. I like Ralph Bakshi and his weird fucking animation career. Yeah.
And they didn't do a sequel.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, so, okay, let me get into this. And this is just as messy of a thing as the film itself. Let's start with The Hobbit. There's a Hobbit, which is a completely different animation house, and it's not Ralph Bakshi.
Mm-hmm.
But it's connected to this in a way. And I like that one as well. I watched that after maybe the second live-action Hobbit came out, and I'm like, oh my god, even though this is like crap, this is so much better. Because it's like short and nice and to the point, you know? It has some funny things in it where everything turns into a song.
Right.
Like, there's a famous catchy one where there's orcs walking and then they whipping people to move along. If there's a whip, there's a way. There is a whip. Everyone who has seen that movie, that song is stuck into their brain so hard. But there's lots of funny things like, oh, Bilbo said, let's make a Bilbo said song. Bilbo said, and it's like that. It's like it's like telling you exactly what's happening.
Not only lost my ring, you lost the finger on which it rode. You must explain.
Frodo of the 9 fingers and the ring of doom.
And it's different animation style, so it's not like this, not mixed. It's like proper, just hand-drawn animation.
Yeah.
They go weird, big Funko Pop heads. And that animation house did a Return of the King movie.
Right.
I think the director said that no one cares about the first 2 books or something stupid. It's weird they came out like that because I don't think they cared about this Ralph Bakshi version. But it's weird that they just made the Return of the King. So there's a Hobbit and Return of the King that has a similar art style. And that has the same. It's just songs about everything. So it's just a fucking mess, basically. One day we'll watch those as well.
No. What we're going to watch?
Yeah.
We're going to watch the Brad Pitt classic, World War Z.
Yay. Zombies.
Yeah, we haven't done zombies in at least 3 weeks. So, Brad Pitt.
Is good.
He is, actually, yeah.
There was a period where you had to, like, kind of defend him, I think. Because I think in the zeitgeist he was kind of like, fuck boy, he's like a good-looking guy. But no, he's a genuinely great actor.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. If you don't think he's a good actor, just look him up in Snatch.
What was the one where he was in space with Tommy Lee Jones? Ad Astra.
Is that good?
No. But
He's good.
He's brilliant in it.
Okay.
World War Z.
Z.
Famously, nothing like the book
Yeah.
at all. Cool.
Cool. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Watch Lord of the Rings, all the editions. If you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, watch this version. 1970 something. Because it's do it for us as an experiment.
Cool.
Bye.
Thank you and goodbye.
The greatest adventure is what lies ahead. Today and tomorrow are yet to be said.